G'day, welcome back. So this episode, I'm going to install the carpet from Cool Trim that I got a couple of weeks ago and finally get this interior ready to start hanging the doors and the guards. All right, so let's rip into it. As I mentioned last episode, I've got the trim kit from Cool Trim. Say that 10 times in a row. The trim kit from Cool Trim on eBay, and it was about $1,200. Have a look yourself if you want to get an affordable kit. So I can testify it's in decent nick. I haven't installed it yet, so I'll let you know at the end of this episode how good it is. Yeah, as I said, I've got no alliance with Cool Trim at all, but I just saw it on eBay, thought it was a well-priced alternative for someone that's trying to save some money on the interior. If you want to get someone to do it, you're looking anything from $5 to $7 grand upwards, sort of thing. Everything's quite expensive, depending on what products you use. If you use Winner, Winner are quite they're the original suppliers for the factory stuff, so you get a premium product, but you also pay for it. And then just labour on top of that, depending on, and also what materials you use for your seats. So if you want to go the full leather or you want to go the original vinyl, it's entirely up to you. But it all costs money at the end of the day. So, and then you got labour. So I'm going to try and do it myself. There's not a lot to it. These carpets are moulded and they're done in Melbourne, I'm pretty sure. So it's really just a matter of getting all your seatbelt bolt-on marks, your seats where they're bolting onto the floor. Obviously your ratchet, your steering column, your ratchet and gearbox. They're pretty much the main points to try and clear. You've got to mark them and punch holes in them. Once you've done that, there's no glue involved in sticking the main carpet down. So it's just a matter of laying it down where you're happy, put all the holes through, and then you're off. The thing where it gets difficult is obviously the rear carpet on the rear wall. It's not that difficult, but you've got to glue it. But the main thing that I'm worried about is this headliner. And I know that they're not easy to install. They've got those two wires. We'll get into it later. And you need specific glue. There's different brands of contact adhesive. There's shit ones and good ones, and you want a good one, basically. A lot of motor trimmers would actually just spray their glue on with a applicator from like in the spray gun and just buy it in bulk. But for guys like me that are just doing a one-off job, a spray can is fine. And I'll run into what I'm using later. So hopefully it's all right. And we'll just give it a go. At the end of the day, they're not overly expensive. So if I fuck it up, I just do another one and off we go again. So it's all learning. I'm happy to do that. So really, before we get into that, I've just got if you can see, I've got the seats in there. I've got the steering wheel. Everything was done for fit up for the center console. So I'm going to remove all that. And I've got some Sikaflex. So I just want to Sikaflex around that ratchet, make sure that it's watertight from underneath, any water ingressing through. I know there was a couple of little holes from last time. So still got to do some work for that, the selector, the LED selector kit that's going to go in. It's a little electric lever that illuminates some LEDs. So it's just a little actuator kit that you can get that goes with the ratchet and illuminates the console as to what gear you're in. So I've still got to get that, and I'll go into that at a later stage. But for now, carpet is where I'm focusing on, and I just want to Sikaflex that around that ratchet box to make sure that it's watertight, and also any other holes that are on the footwell. So we'll do that now, and then we'll rip into it. Okay, so it's always the way. It's never easy as it seems. So I've got a little bit ahead of myself, and I couldn't wait to dry, but I've Sikaflexed all that in there. And all these, just a couple of little holes that were up the front as well. But yeah, so this was the underlay that came with the kit. As you can see, it's not the whole way through. I did contact Adrian from Cool Trim and just say, what's the go? And he just said, they didn't usually have it on the rear of the Utes. So I'll put it up the front. And as you can see, it's obviously being held up high there by the gearbox, by the ratchet. So there's a good YouTube video on installing carpet from TrueFit, who probably make those moulded carpets over there. So I've been following along. Basically, you get a bit of chalk and you can just chalk along where the outer box is for the ratchet, and then you know where to cut. So it's not overly important for the underlay, I suppose, just to get a hole, get it down there, get it laid down. You don't even need to stick it down, I think you just rest it down there. So once that's done, you got the rear wheel. So you've got the rear carpet there on the wall, and this comes with a little bit of vinyl there, and apparently you just tuck that over with a bit of contact adhesive over that lip and spray just at the top, a bit of contact adhesive on the rear wall. The rest can hang, according to Adrian. And for the roof, this is going to be the hardest part. I've taken the two rods out. They're pretty hard to get out. You just got to sort of lever them up. Got the two in the same position. So that headliner, I'll feed those rods through and connect them. And then I did watch a video about how to do a headliner, and they've just laid it out and then sprayed contact adhesive over the perimeter, around the edges of that headliner, and then put it up there so that they don't have to then go spraying when it's in situ and spray it all over everything else. So I think I'll probably do that. The contact adhesive will last a while, and then you just spray another little bit of contact adhesive there. So when you're ready and you're pulling it tight, you can just lip it over and it should technically hold. But that's where I was talking about before, where the good quality contact adhesive will come into play. If you don't have enough, if you don't have the good stuff, then it will come loose and then you'll be in a world of hurt. So I'm hoping that the bottle that I've got, which is it's not the it says professional master formula, so who knows. It was not exactly cheap, 26 bucks, so you'd think that it was a decent one. Anyway, we'll see how we go. It wasn't the one that I was told to get, which was on eBay. It's got a weird fluorescent green or something bottle. Anyway, I think this will do. We'll give it a go. So anyway, I reckon I'll just get this trim, this felt in first, and then the rear, and then we'll probably go for the headliner and see how that goes. So, as per usual, when I film these videos, it's over the course of many weeks when I can find the time to come out here. And we've since reached spring, so the welcome swallows have come back, and there's a mating pair that come in here every year, and they're shitting on the bloody front of the ute. So I've had to get a blanket, chuck it over the engine, but luckily they're missing the paint. Still a bit of a nightmare. So anyway, Tim came around in between doing the interior, and we managed to dress a door and hang it. So we got all the key lock handle, got the glass in. And the glass was tinted from previous, and although it has a couple of little sort of wear marks on it, I've decided I'll probably just keep it because, you know, you got to save some cost somewhere, and the tint actually looks pretty good with the colour. So I think it's legal. Got it registered last time with it. So yeah, I could probably get cleaner glass, but I'm pretty happy. And the door, I'm really happy with the way we'd managed to get it lined up. So that just shows you it's worth spending the extra time gapping the panels before you get to primer. For those who watched this previous episode where I gapped it, you'll know that I had to then redo the primer again because I'd already spent a lot of time doing that, and then realised that the doors were out of whack. So if I hadn't done that work before I got to this point, then I'd be in an absolute world of pain because you just would have ruined the paint. Now, for those painters that are out there that have got a keen eye, you'll probably notice that door was painted with a different batch of paint than the quarter panel. So the way I'd done it, I'd saved paint for the doors and the guards, but what happens is I sort of ran short, so I ended up having to do a different batch basically, and I think I've got away with it. So as you can see, there's no obvious changes in colour from that door to the quarter panel, and yeah, it's hard because it's such a the paint is a pearl, so it changes depending on what's surrounded anyway. But if anything, it could be a bit warmer, a tad warmer than the rear. But it's also hard to know because you're getting a bit of light coming from that panel at the front, which is not hitting that rear there as much. And so also the curvature is slightly different. But when you sort of come around to this side, it looks identical. You can see the shading is pretty much identical. So I'm not concerned at all. But really happy with the actual panels themselves. The fact that this is my first job doing panel work and fabrication and body filler. So I'm really happy with the way that door when I first got it was really sticking out big time, like about an inch. And yeah, Tim's experience from hanging doors and my effort on gapping them got us to that result. So really happy. So now, I'll tell you what, when you're hanging these doors, it's real heart in your mouth stuff. As you can see, that shuts beautifully. Didn't chip it. Sticking out a little bit, maybe a tiny bit at the top, but it's not a show car. I'm happy. All right, underlays in. So there's a couple of different tricks that I looked up, finding and locating these seat mount holes, and I just cut a little recess out there for the park brake. It's, you sort of find your way through in the dark with this stuff. I'm assuming that's going to be all right. But yeah, so what you can do is just get a circular chisel, if you've got one, put a block of wood under there and just mark at the top where you locate it with some chalk, and then you just hammer it, put the wood underneath and hammer the chisel over the top, and it just divots it out. I didn't have a circular chisel, I just used a normal one, but you can see that way it just leaves a nice gap around it. So that's actually from True Fit Carpets on YouTube. I learned that one. So if they're doing it, obviously it's a handy little trick. All right, so now I'm up to the first carpet to put in on the floor. So yeah, I'll just do the same kind of thing, mark it up and then cut her out and see how we go. All right, so here we are. Got the main carpets down. I got all the holes cut out for the center console, the seats, and I've just glued this in at the rear. So all you need to do is glue the top, 150 mil, and around on the top lip, just fold that over. Now I'm going by Cool Trim's advice here, so I just asked him, and that's what he said to do. So, and that just literally hangs down behind the seats there. Got a little bit of dirt there. Yeah, slightly off on that one, but overall I'm pretty happy considering it's my first go. I polished up these little bottom door sills, and look, they came up all right. I don't want to have to go to the effort of re-chroming them. They're not perfect. They've got slight scratches on them, but yeah, from a distance they look good. So it's all coming together. So now I'm going to have a go at the old roof. Now this is the hardest part. I've got the poles down here. I'll go and get the vinyl now and we'll start to figure out a plan. All right, so it's going to be a bit hard to see. I've just managed to get it up there roughly. So I've got the two rods in there, and I was wondering how it was going to go because there was a third line at the rear there with a tube on the back of it. So it looked like it was going to fit a cable, but of course there's only two cables on the roof. and there was nothing else. So there's some hooks on the top there. You can see where that wire's coming out. There's some little hooks at the top, and there was nothing on there. But since found out that there is a wire that goes on the rear of that must slot through there and feed onto those little hooks. And it was missing on this. It must have got ripped out when I was taking this headliner off in the first place. So I didn't want to do it, but I've just been pilfering stuff from the HZ. So the old HZ, I gave it a clean. It's come up absolute treat. But I've had to do it to the old girl. I've had to rip a few parts off it. I'm trying to avoid doing it because I don't want this to be a headache when it comes time to doing some work on this. However, I just want to finish this WB. So minor things like this headliner, I don't think are going to break the bank. So what I've done is I've just ripped that off. It was pretty much stuffed anyway and needed to be replaced. So that's fine. I'll leave those. I swapped over this rail. It's a bit loose. That was the one off the WB, but it wasn't really sitting up right up against there. So that'll do for now, but you can buy those rod kits online. They're not going to break the bank. But see this here? That little wire there is what's missing. So I think you can just, there's some little hooks there. Oh, I hate doing stuff like this, but anyway. So see it's just sitting in there. For some reason, the one that I've got is missing. So I'm going to take this one out, get this WB bloody finished, and worry about that at a later stage. Got a bit of rust on the ceiling. Also, I was looking at a video about putting these headliners on, and some bloke said don't put butyl rubber on the roof because if it gets left out in the sun, it can sag and fall off. So I didn't think about that, but I don't know why the butyl rubber would sag off, yet the glue that you're using for the underlay, which a lot of people do, wouldn't fall off. To me, it's pretty much the same deal. It's handling the same temperature. Anyway, if anyone knows, let me know. But I'm done. I'm stuck with the butyl on there now, so I'll just have to make sure that I won't park it out in the sun, roasting sun for hours on end. All right, so I'll get this cable out and reuse that on the WB. Actually, I stand corrected, it is there. I just didn't see it because they painted it black. See it running along there. So I'm just going to take that out now, save the HZ after all, and reuse this one. All right, as per usual, I can find hardly any reference or resource material on how to install one of these headers or headliners on a ute, especially H-series ute. So as per usual, I have to find out the hard way and document it myself. So that wire at the back, so you can see these little pointy barbs that come out. They're part of that panel behind there where that wire sits on. So anyway, I'd originally put these two cables on and then I was hanging, I was like, how do you get access to those barbs? So I checked out the HZ and they sort of cut through and then they're pushed right up, sandwiching that wire so it doesn't move. And then it just occurred to me that you just have to take these off first so you've got access. So when you're starting on one of these headers, this is the way I'm doing it, but it makes sense to start from the rear. And from the research that I've done, that's generally what motor trimmers will do. They'll start from the rear of the car and work their way forward. So anyway, do that, and then I just cut through that material because you want the barbs to go right and wrap right around that cable or that wire. So I just did a little slit, and it just made it a little bit longer on each side just in case I needed to adjust it. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to push those barbs right up with the screwdriver and just push them over that wire, and then it's locked in and it's not going to go anywhere. And that will hold the back of that up, and then I can start working my way forward. So generally I've seen what the professional guys will do is I'll lay this down on a piece of timber first, spray the edges, and then go around, tape up around here, and then just spray with a bit of cardboard, spray right around. They'll use proper glue. I'm using that spray can stuff. It seems to have held pretty well on this section here anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, then go around and spray all that and then wait for it to tack off. And then they'll just sort of work their way forward and start pulling it, you know. They'll pretty much go from the rear to the front and pull it, and then they'll come back to the sides and pull this side and then get rid of the crinkles that way. So I'm not going to go and charge in with the glue straight away, because obviously this is my apprenticeship with doing this stuff. I only get one go. And if I start gluing like the guys that have been doing it for 10, 20 years, I'm going to stuff it up. So it's going to be harder for me to do it this way, but I'm just going to get my fit slowly but surely, and then I'll have to go around and actually spray at the last minute, spray the edges, spray up into here, and hopefully I don't make a mess. Might put a sheet down. And that's just unfortunately, this is the way you do it when you're doing it yourself. So I can understand why people pay people to do this. It's not hugely hard, but it's just knowing these little tricks of the trade, knowing exactly where things go, the cables, the wire, all that kind of stuff. It's just so time consuming, this stuff like knowing that wire was not there, and then finding it and then coming out, and luckily I had the HZ. But yeah, just little things that you could stuff up along the way, like this little rear view mirror bracket needs to be in. There's a light that needs to be cut in, but you can do that afterwards. The carpet is easy. I suggest that anyone can do the carpet with a little bit of nous, but the headliner definitely is no beginner's job, and I haven't even finished it yet, so we'll see. I'm pretty confident I can get a good result, but just got to take it real slow. All right, so fast forward, and I've put the headliner on, and I'm really happy with it. It's as tight as a drum. I don't think, even if I was to get someone else to do it, I don't think you could get it any tighter than that. I'm really, really happy with the way it's turned out. So I ended up taking that rod out and actually putting a little bit more of a bend in the middle of it, because that sort of was sagging down a little bit and not holding it up. So if you do get a little bit of a sag in one of those rods, yeah, just flex it a little bit, create that tension and that higher arc in the middle, and then mount it into the slots on the sides. Do the bottom slot. There's 2 slots. I did the bottom one on each because that was factory. I checked it on the HZ, and yeah, that just brings it up and basically presses it against the tin. You can see that's like really tight. That glue, that canned glue, held really well right along there. So I think the windscreen will just sit on top of that, because you really don't want to cut it any lower than that. You need something to hang on to it. It's got a little bit of a gap there, but I think, yeah, once again, you can fill that with some silicone when the windscreen's going on. And then, yeah, just pressed it around there. But you can see, yeah, it's come up really nice around the rear sections on here. I've got a little bit of glue on there, but you can get that glue off with a little bit of WD-40, I've since found out. So you can just sort of spray it on, let it sit for a bit, and then it sort of turns to residue again. You can wash it off. What I forgot to do is, the kit did come with some of this foam in it, and I'm pretty sure I should have stuck that in there. And fortunately I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to have it without it. And then this section here doesn't have it anyway. So yeah, I'll have to put that in. And these come with a little, they've got like a little piece of board in here, and that screws down. So you can't really tell anyway, once you get those bits of glue off. That's one thing I'd say, just be careful with the glue residue. Tape it up. Tape up along here with double-sided tape, thick stuff, like it comes out. So when you spray it, you won't be, because you've got to spray this section here because it's contact adhesive. So you've got to do the 2 sides, one on the inside of this and then one on that. So you could lay that out on a table, spray around the edges, bring it in,
And you can sit it for about half an hour before it's really of any danger of drying. And even if it does dry, just reapply it over the top and it'll be fine to go again. So I've still got to trim this section here, but I've trimmed all there. That probably needs a little bit more there. There's some sections I didn't actually glue as much as I wanted to, but I've trimmed off just around there, so that'll hopefully all be hidden by the rubber of the windscreen. Hopefully I haven't gone too high there. It's sitting on that lip, so I imagine that's it's all going to be covered. And on this side, I've got this pinch weld and actually mounted it just on the door there, right around. I've got to cut it, and I've mounted the chrome plates there. That sort of tucks under. The handbrake will be mounted there, so I can sort of tuck that under, which this is fully done up. But yeah, all in all, and that's it, the other side, so the pinch weld sort of just goes in there. You'll notice that the rear light area there still gets to go in, so that's why it's bulging down a bit in the middle, just there. And so it'd be impossible to do that beforehand, so you just put that in afterwards. And the other side is, the other section at the front is where the rear view mirror mount goes, in there. So I've got to mark that and pop that in, which won't be super hard. And also where the actual mounts go for the rear view, for the sun visors as well, need to go in there. But as you can see, a good result. And now I'm just going to push forward, put these side pillars on, and then put the center console in. All right, so I stuffed up, and all those motor trimmers out there that have been watching this, or guys that have done this before, would have picked this up earlier. And unfortunately I didn't. But this roof section at the windscreen area, the front, I just wrapped that right over, the headliner right over, and stuck it on here. That's actually not the correct way to do it. There's actually a little, you'll notice that if you take your liner off, and you can't see it now because I've redone it. So I pulled back the headliner, the glue was still tacky, so it wasn't too bad. But under this little lip, you'll see that this rubber seal here is supposed to sit basically flush with that indent. And I was trying to push that over the whole front of the windscreen area, which wasn't working. And I was like, okay, this is not right. What have I done wrong? So I went out to the HZ, had a good look. And you'll see, that's probably a better way. This isn't the greatest seal, so I'll probably buy another one, but it'll be great just to get it in place. But see that little fold lip there? So I was putting it over this whole section, but there's a little, they're actually screwed on, but there's a little ridge here, and there's some plates that are screwed on. And that creates a little lip for the pinch weld seal at the front to go into. And then that levers it forward, and this, the profile of that will sit up in that indent, and then this sort of bigger lip at the front will sit as almost like a little veranda ready for the silicone when the windscreen guy puts the windscreen in. So that is a pretty big error. Although it didn't hinder the installation, as you can see, it's still tight all over because it's obviously had time to seal in, stretch on these sides. So really when I undid it, it just relaxed down a bit. So pulling it forward and then putting it into that lip didn't hinder it at all. So yeah, when it comes time to do that, just make sure that you glue along here, don't glue up there, and then just run your finger from start in the middle, pull it tight, and then just work your way each side and just push your finger up to there, and that'll hold it tight enough for you then to come through. And I just used a credit card or any kind of plastic card and just push that right in, and it just basically locks it in there. It's not going to go anywhere. And then come through with your seal, and you'll see it, you just push it into that the whole way along, and that locks it in. Bit of a save there, but that's what it's all about. So I'm glad I picked that one up. There you go. A lot of people would probably actually forget about that, leave it off. The 2 videos that I watched where people were doing this, they didn't do this, or at least they didn't show it. So I'm thinking they may have just wrapped it over and left it and didn't bother putting that seal on. But if you didn't put the seal on, I was wondering whether it would actually potentially leak. So anyway, I'm doing it, and that is, from what I can see from the HZ, is the correct factory way to do it. All right, take 2. So that is how it should be. Although I'm not happy with that seal because it's an old original seal. It's just lost its rigidity, and it should be really tight up and like that into that groove, as I said. It's just undulating there, but you can see how it sort of sits up in that groove. So with the new, you can buy these online for about $30. But when the windscreen gets put on, that also pushes it down a bit, and you can see it comes up, like pushes down, it'll slide up into there a bit more. But with the new one, I think it'll be better. This one's seen better days. I think it's the original one, so it's been probably sitting in that ute for 30 years, and softened up and flexed and warped and all that kind of stuff. So a new one, cheap, it'll just finish off that interior and make the rest of the roof look as good as it is already. So it'll really finish it off. And yeah, you can see the plastic on that side. It actually just fits under each of those little wings or verandas. It'll just tuck it up. That one's tucked in under there, and that one's just missing. But when I get the new one, I will sort that out. But all in all, that's the roof liner done and completed, and I'm happy with it. I did make a mistake, but I managed to crawl back and save it. So there you go. Before I wrap it up for this video, I'm going to put this door skin on just to have a look, because I've been dying to see what it looks like. Then I'll take the sheets off and reveal the interior. I've placed the center console in there, but put a door skin on just to have a look. It's hard to see with the light, but yeah, that's basically done. Just need to put the obviously the seats in. But it's looking nice and neat. Keeping in mind, doing it all myself, so it's never going to be as good as paying someone. And it doesn't look as good without the handles and things on. But yeah, and the seats in, but it's all there, all fits. And you just got to remember that I've learned something. I've learned how to do one of these interiors, saved a fair bit of money in the process, and have the achievement of doing it yourself. So that's what it's all about for me. There's no easier vehicles to do this on. It doesn't get any more simple than this. So have a crack. But I'm gonna wrap it up there. I know it's been a while since I've been doing this. I've been doing a million other things, and one of those other things is the WB tail light, which I'm going to have a chat to you now. I've basically put these on pre-sale, and they are on the website ready to go. So I've been playing back and forth with the designs of these, and originally I was going to go with the actual complete replica of the original, but I've since changed that. And for those who follow me on social media would have seen that I've actually done a quick connect bayonet fitting, which is a custom fitting bespoke to these housings that I've made. So what it allows you to do is put any other brand bayonet in there, as long as it's got the adapter for these housings. At the moment, the only adapter I've made is for the Nava bayonet fittings, which are the Bay 15D and Bay 15S. And the housings, as you can see, are made in ABS glass fibre, so they're really rigid, strong, and the precision of that filament allows you to get really good tolerances and accuracy. So they fit like a glove. They fit both the original and aftermarket lenses now. This is just as it came out of the production, and this has to be treated obviously with the reflective paint and the inserts, which I've done at the back, so I'll show you quickly. All right, so here's the latest model. I've gone through about 10 different variations of this design over the last year, for the first time, from the very first YouTube episode on it to now, and it is completely different. So basically the design ended up changing. I was talking to a few people along the way. Times have changed and technology has changed with globes. I designed a bayonet fitting at the back as an adapter to then house whatever globes you want, basically, and you don't have to stuff around with that funny earth tunnel that was on the originals. And I've also redesigned the mounts with some brass inserts that are much stronger and exactly the same dimensions as the old ones, so they line up like factory. I've still got the loom plug there, so if you want to do that old school loom, you still can. I've just made some additional support there because originally that was like a cone poking down, which wasn't the greatest kind of structure to 3D print. So that's another change, but it makes the thing stronger as well. And these are designed so that I can make any adapter that I want and then click that in. So currently the adapter that I've made is for the Nava connectors. So there's a Bay 15D and a Bay 15S, the same globes as the originals. And so that's the adapter that houses that. And then that is the adapter that clicks into the body of the housing. So all you need to do is buy these units, which are just, $10 off the shelf, super cheap auto on eBay. Get your globes, exactly the same factory Bay 15 globes. Get the adapters, which will come in the kit. And you just click that in, and that's got a little bayonet as per the way that Nava had made it. So that houses that. And I've obviously painted that reflective chrome because that's inside. And then, that's it. And then all your earth and everything is encased in that, so you don't have to worry about all that crap anymore. And then really it's just a matter of inserting it and then that's it. It clicks in nice and snug. Once this is painted, basically it looks like that. Same as the other ones. The 3D print has given it a kind of a little bit of a geometric line there, which is actually aids in reflective, in the reflection. If you look at a lot of other tail lights, they have that anyway. So yeah, they're much brighter than the originals, and you would have seen a refurbished one. That's basically what they look like. So that's the old design. Well, it's not really old. It's just it's made in ASA plastic. And this, as you can see, is the final production one that you'll be sent out with these buckets painted chrome as well. They won't come with globes, but or the actual fitting, but they will come with the adapters and the chrome ready for install. And I'll just have to source some screws as well, so you can screw your lenses in as well. I went to a lot of effort to try and make sure that the housings fit the aftermarket lenses and the originals just the same way. There is a slight variation on the sizes of the original and the aftermarket one. So as you can see, that just like slots in. Tolerances and the holes line up. So you just have to get your screws and screw them on. And that's it. And then you get a brand new light assembly with modern fittings to chuck in the WB, and it'll last for years to come. I'm really happy with the way these have turned out. I've created a pre-sale on the Unicq Parts website for these, and it's only limited to 30 because I just wanted to make sure the production, I can manage production at the start. I don't want to get inundated with anything and not be able to produce them at a high level because they are an expensive item, and you want to get, I want to produce something that's worth sending out the door. So yeah, so that comes with the unit, the 3 adapters for the Nava fittings, all the heat certs, obviously painted chrome inside the buckets, and the screws for the actual lens as well. So, and also the bolts, which are an M5 bolt at the rear to bolt to the actual body of the ute. So there you go, WB tail light ready to go. Jump on the website if you want to set.
All right, so that's it for this episode. A little bit more progress, as you can see. Interior is done. Things are rolling along slowly. More importantly, just want everyone to realise that there is no time limit on this ute anymore. I'm also developing these products in the background for the benefit of the community, for the benefit of my interest in the business and all this kind of stuff. So the ute's really starting to come together. So I reckon the next episode we'll probably bolt up a few little things, hang the other door, hang the guards. That should be pretty much ready to go. I reckon next episode. Just got to get some help to do that. And to finish off the bang shift, I'm going to get that Ninja Build LED mechanism that they 3D print, and they've made up all the little LED selector switches and things like that. So I can't wait. I'll get that with the modulator that you need to run it. So I can't remember what it's called, but I'll introduce it all in the next episode. So if you haven't followed along on Instagram, always posting stuff on Instagram. Generally, it's 3 or 4 weeks until I post, so it's always good to follow on that. I'm always posting little things here and there. I will have a little bit more time now up my sleeve, now that a couple of big jobs are finished. So hopefully we'll speed up the production on this a little bit more. There's so many things I want to do on this channel other than this ute, so I'm really rapt to try and finish this off, start taking it to some car shows, and then I've got a couple of more projects that could divide the crowd of the channel or introduce more. So it's pretty exciting. As always, thanks again for watching. If you haven't, hit the like button, subscribe, all the bells and whistles, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.